Hello, everybody. This is Miss Mulkey, and we just want to continue the conversation that we started last week with the college application process, a step-by-step guide. Last week, we talked about step one and step two, and today we are going to talk about the other three steps that you need to complete if you're looking at college. And just keep in mind that if you are considering going to a trade or technical program, that the application process is very similar to that of a college application. Also, keep in mind that maybe you're not really set on going to college at this point. It might be in your future. So, in case that does happen, that you'll know all the steps you need to take to complete that process. So, last week we talked about identifying your college interests and goals. And we also talked about researching college options. So, today we are going to actually start the application process. What does that look like if you're going to college, a trade program, a technical program, or some other type of post-secondary program to help you achieve whatever goals you have for after high school. So to start filling out applications, you're going to review the application requirements for each school. And I know this website or this PowerPoint says that some applications will direct you, or many schools will direct you to the Common App. However, there may be cases where you don't need to complete the Common application. So for example, if you're applying to like UK and EKU, you don't need to complete the Common application. I would just complete, those individual applications because they're fairly easy to complete, and oftentimes the Common App requires additional things, even though the schools don't require those. So I would stick to the basics, apply to the individual schools, reach out to me if you think the Common App is appropriate for you. Like I said, there are very rare circumstances that you should use the Common App. And then you're going to start working on each aspect of your application. So it's going to ask for information about like your personal information, your address, and things like that. Also keep in mind to get to a college application, you're just going to go to that college's website. So for example, I'm just going to use BCTC as an example. So I'm going to go to Bluegrass Community and Technical College. Let's just pretend I don't know the address. And I'm going to click on their home website. I go here a lot, you could probably tell. On every college applications or every college website, you're going to see somewhere apply now or start your application today. So there's the apply right down there. And then voila, then we start our application. So same thing goes for looking at like EKU. So let's pop over to EKU. And on that front page, we should see something that says apply now. Oh, there we go, apply today. So you may have to do a little hunting. And if you're not really sure, please email me and I can send you the direct link to that application. So like for EKU, we'd fill out the application. Now, with every application that you do, you're going to have to create an account. And this is so when you create an account, if you have to leave and come back to it, it saves all your information so you don't have to start again. Also, if there's a problem with your application, a lot of time colleges will use your account to determine, what's going on and what can be fixed. So that is where you need to go if you are starting your application. All right, so personal contact information. Some other things that you need to kind of have prepared are your standardized test scores. Now, a lot of colleges are moving to the test optional program. And what that means is they are not using the ACT or SAT for acceptance into the school or for those merit-based scholarships, except for the very top tier scholarships. So with that, you don't always have to submit your test scores for colleges that you are looking at. However, there are cases where they do use your ACT scores or SAT scores for class placement. So if you want to avoid being placed in remedial classes or developmental classes, you may need to submit those test scores for placement. And maybe if those test scores aren't to benchmark, that's an 18 in English, a 19 in math, and a 20 in reading, then you can take something with us called a Coyote test. Some of you may have already taken a Coyote test. And with that, you can use that score as kind of like a replacement score so you don't have to take those developmental classes. It says here, you usually begin taking tests in the 10th and 11th grade. I know a lot of you all have signed up for the October test, which is great. October and December are really big ones for our seniors. And then also keep in mind that in February, we offer a free ACT to all of our seniors who choose to take it. Well, I say February, but it's usually like late February or early March. You can do Khan Academy for free test prep. You can also attend one of our workshops that we offer. I know right now that we're working on scheduling a workshop for the October test date, so just stay tuned and keep an eye out on social media for that information. Some of you also might be in AP classes or things like that. There are options for you to take subject tests in those areas. If that will help you depending on which college you're looking at. With every application that you do, trade, technical, college, sometimes scholarships, you have to submit your transcript, and you do this through Parchment. So Parchment is how you order your transcripts and send those. We sent you all an email on August 17th to activate your Parchment account. If you cannot find that email, or you did not receive one, please let me know so I can send you an activation link to get you going. So you will go to Parchment, fill out or create your account through Parchment with that activation link. And then once you have an account, you order your transcripts by typing in the school of where you want to send your transcripts to, and then we will send your transcripts to those schools. If you're having trouble with Parchment, like I said, please just reach out to me. If you need an unofficial copy of your transcript, I believe you can get that from Infinite Campus. And you also always want to double check with your application process to make sure that those transcripts were received. And this says don't wait until last minute, ask in early October. As soon as you apply, I would immediately send that transcript. So like if you're doing a UK application, complete that application process, and next step is go to Parchment, order that transcript, and have it sent. Just make that a habit of when you're applying to those colleges that you send your transcript right away. And if you're applying for those top-tiered scholarships or to get out of remedial courses, you may want to go ahead and send your ACT scores if you didn't send those as well. To send those, you go to act.org. Some of you may have an account, some of you may not. If you don't have an account, reach out to me so I can send you your ACT ID, because you kind of already have an account. You just need to activate it, and then you can go from there. College application essays. Good news here is that not many places actually require college application essay unless it is for a top-tiered scholarship or honors college or diversity scholarship or some other targeted scholarship for that particular college. However, many scholarships do require essays, and this is you'll have a lesson next time, I believe, about writing your college essay that will help you kind of develop and think about what you need to include in your college application essay. The key word there is memorable. You want your essays to stick out. And there is a handout I believe you will have to help you keep track of essay prompts for each school. Next, letters of recommendation. All right. So with letters of recommendation, you want somebody who has taught you, that knows you very well, knows your strengths, knows your weaknesses, has observed personally how you have grown as an individual student and person, because they are the individuals who are going to be able to write you a solid recommendation letter, because they've seen that growth and witnessed how amazing you are firsthand, that they can put all that information into a recommendation letter. So choose a teacher or counselor who knows you very well, This says ask for a letter the spring of 11th grade, and I know you all are seniors, but honestly, ask for those letters of recommendation as soon as you know you're going to need one. And the reason why is because you want to give your teachers and other individuals enough time to have to really write a thoughtful letter of recommendation. So they're not just, spitting something out just to get it to you before a certain deadline. So give them plenty of time. I usually like to go by the rule of 10 business days, 10 school days. However, the more time you can give an individual, the better. And please make sure that they don't automatically get something like an automatic email that's sent to them that says so-and-so has requested a letter of recommendation from you. You always want to ask for these in person. It's just a courtesy. And then also when they do write you a letter of recommendation, it's always a good idea to follow up with a nice little thank you note because they can use that. Well, not use that, but it will encourage them and tell them that you're grateful for the time that they took to write that letter of recommendation for you. It's also a good idea to tell them where you're applying, the contact info for the schools, deadlines, a summary of your personal goals, online instructions, because sometimes there are online letters of recommendation versus like mailing something in or emailing something. You're also welcome to give them an unofficial transcript. Most of your teachers might be able to see your grades in Infinite Campus, but I believe if they're not a teacher of your current year, they're not going to be able to. And again, send that thank you letter. Also include in your applications all the extracurricular activities you are involved in. And I would think back to the summer before your 8th grade year and include literally everything that you've done up until this point. So maybe you played, volleyball your freshman year, but maybe you haven't played your sophomore, junior, or senior year. You'll still want to include that. Maybe you've been involved in NHS or beta or academic team or choir or band or so many different options of things that you've been involved in, school-based and community-based. Like maybe you're involved in church or maybe you're involved in 4-H. So those are the types of activities that you want to include in your application process. It's also a good idea to talk about any leadership roles you've had. You may be a senior that is involved in our house leadership this year. So you'll want to put that in. Any subcommittees that you're on, you'll also want to include those. Awards and accomplishments are something else that you can include, like if you're on all A honor roll, AB honor roll, if you were chosen for a particular activity or as a leader, if you've been recognized for something. So a lot of those social media posts where we recognize our students, our Jaguar of the Month, I think we've called them other things in the past, you can include that in your application. Some colleges, and I know COVID has kind of messed with this a little bit, but some colleges have required interviews in the past. I know Berea once did that, but I believe COVID has kind of put a halt to all those things. So not too many places will do college interviews unless you are trying to get into like the honors college or you're trying to get those top tiered scholarships. Those types of things will require you all to complete an interviews, but in general, many colleges have kind of ditched that college interview process unless, again, it's for scholarships or for honors colleges. If you are pursuing college interviews, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you about interview tips and types of questions you might experience, as well as some things to prepare for. There is going to be a place typically on the application for you to include any other pertinent information about you or about any hardships or things that you've encountered, whether that's a physical hardship, financial hardship, learning disabilities. So I would make sure that you include those if that applies to you. There are some scholarships out there that you can apply for, some diversity scholarships out there that you can apply for that would help you earn or help award you with a significant amount of money to help you cover the cost of tuition or room and board. So again, just send me an email if you feel like you have a special circumstance, because like I said, there might be something out there that would fit that would fit your needs if you're comfortable enough sharing that with me. If you are looking at like some art colleges or performance-based college, like the theater program, choir program, one, you'll definitely want to work with your arts teacher, so Mr. Walker or Miss Carlstadt, I'm sorry, Mrs. Sokopoulos, to go over, portfolios, or maybe you have to send in video examples of your of some pieces that you've performed, that you've acted in, or some vocal examples. So again, we can reach out to your arts teachers to talk about what that portfolio looks like or what you need to include. Oh, researching financial aid. Talk to your family about how to pay for college. So there's something really big happening on October 1st. October 1st is when the free application for federal student aid opens. Hear me when I say free application. There are some websites out there that look exactly like the FAFSA website. They are imposters, and after you enter your information, at the very end, it'll say, enter your credit card information here. And don't do that, because this is a free process and you should not have to pay for it. I know, because I have fallen victim to this myself. So again, that free application for federal student aid opens. Everybody needs to do the FAFSA. If you're thinking about college, if you're thinking about trade, if you're thinking about technical, if you're looking at military, if you're looking at entering the workforce, everybody needs to do FAFSA. And that's because situations change, your expectations might change, you might have different goals a year from now, and you want to have that FAFSA done because there are people here in this school right now to help you take care of that. So you can talk to me about any local scholarships or state aid. For sure, everybody should have in their senior conference form and in Google Classroom access to a scholarship Google Doc. And there's also a minority Google Doc in there. And in those, I list off scholarships that you're able to apply for. I also list out search engines that you can look at, like FastWeb or College Board. So that's a good starting place to look for those scholarships. And I will also put in there local scholarships, like the Rotary Scholarship or Order of the Eastern Star, American Legion, and other community-based scholarships that we offer to our kids. Most of those come in the spring. So you just want to start thinking about ways to earn and save money for yourself. Be educated on the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized loans. While we don't think of loans as a good thing, they're actually a good thing because they can help us accomplish what we want to do in life. So they're an investment. But with any investment, you want to make sound financial decisions. So make sure you're educated on loans and that you're only taking out what you need. Subsidized are what we call the good loans. And that's because the government pays the interest of those loans while you're in school. And then the unsubsidized loans, those are the ones where they're accruing interest right away and you're getting like a monthly statement of those. And if you do have to take out unsubsidized loans, just make sure you're paying the interest on those loans every month so they're not adding up. And the online databases for scholarships, those were like the FastWeb that I mentioned, Going Mary, Scholly, College Board, all those are scholarship databases where you enter information specific to you. So like what you want to do, your ethnic or cultural background, if you have any religious affiliation, anything like that, you're putting those in those search engines. And then after you complete the profile, it'll generate a list of scholarships specific to you. And again, those links are in that scholarship document in Google Classroom or in your senior conference form. And then again, you may be eligible for special circumstances scholarships, like the child of a military individual, first generation. If you've had cancer or cancer effects or have experienced some form of a major health issue. This even says here, like future teacher, if you're an aspiring educator, there are going to be scholarships out there for you that we just have to maybe do a little hunting for.
If you need help paying for college or career school, The Office of Federal Student Aid might be your best option. We offer more than $150 billion to students each year in the form of grants, loans, and work-study funds. And federal student aid can be used to pay for school expenses, such as tuition, room and board, and books and supplies. After you've filled out the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, you'll receive an award letter from each school you list on your FAFSA. This letter explains both the federal and non-federal financial aid options that a school is offering you. So let's talk about federal aid. If you qualify for and receive a federal grant, you won't have to repay the money. That will definitely help offset the cost of school, but you may still need additional help. If so, a federal student loan might be your answer. Remember, a student loan is just like any other loan. It's borrowed money that will have to be repaid with interest. If you plan to take out a loan, consider federal student loans first. Compared to private student loans, federal student loans often have lower fixed interest rates and offer many benefits that you won't find otherwise. For example, when it's time for you to repay your federal student loan, your loan servicer can work with you to find the best repayment plan for your individual needs. Plus, you may be able to adjust your loan payments based on your income. You also may be able to defer your federal loan payments, deduct student loan interest on your taxes, and even consolidate your eligible federal student loans into one loan with one monthly payment. Federal loans can even be forgiven based on certain types of employment. Getting a work-study job is another great option to help pay for school. Eligible undergraduate and graduate students will be able to earn at least minimum wage. If you have questions or need assistance, you can contact the financial aid office at your college or career school or visit studentaid.gov for more information.
Right, so that was a little helpful video about how college can be accessible and affordable for everyone. Again, if you want to know more information about this process, please just reach out to me and we can either have a conversation via email, via text, or we can schedule a sit-down conference. So here is a look at basically how you pay for college. These are your options right here. All right, so here in the middle is kind of where we start. Like, does your family have any income or savings that you can put towards your education? The next level is the community-based scholarship. Those are like, we have the Rotary Club, the local businesses. Those are the ones that I mentioned earlier. You can ask me, and I have that scholarship list again in Google Classroom. As of right now, I don't believe there's any specific scholarships through our personal high school, but there are going to be, scholarships out there for high school students. And then you have state resources. So this depends on the college, depends on the state. So if you're looking at Kentucky versus like Tennessee, and things like that. Here we have merit-based scholarships, and I do want to talk a little bit about merit-based scholarships because something huge has happened with colleges, and that is that test optional application process, because now they're using merit-based scholarships only on your GPA. So if you have like a 3.5 GPA, don't quote me on this, by the way, but if you have like a 3.5 GPA, you might be able to go to EKU and get a $4,000 scholarship, just right away, just for applying and having a GPA of 3.5. I don't know if that's the specific GPA cutoff, but I'm just using that as an example. Actually, let's take a look at that. Let's go ahead and we'll do WKU merit-based scholarships. So we go to scholarships. Usually you can find the website of your college, and you'll want to look at first-time freshman scholarships. So let's look at the scholarship for fall of 2022, because that's that's when you all will start. And here is a chart of those merit-based scholarships. So a 3.0 to 3.2 unweighted, by the way, at WKU will automatically get you $2,500 just for having your GPA. And you can see as you move up, you're going to get more and more money. And again, if you have that ACT score for that top tier scholarship and a 3.8 or above, that's going to get you $8,000. So most all of colleges have some kind of system like this that we can find. If you're not able to find it, please email me and I can just shoot you the link of where you need to go. All right, so those are the merit-based scholarships. Also, something to keep in mind that those merit-based scholarships have to be turned in by a certain deadline. UK, WKU, U of L, those are all in December. I think most of them are December 1st. Berea and I believe Transy, they have their merit-based scholarships due by October 31st. That's like their early application. So if you want to be eligible for these items, you need to make sure you know when the deadlines are for these colleges that you're looking at, and making sure that you're getting all of your application materials in, whether that's the entire application, transcripts, test scores, all of that has to be turned in by a certain date. If you're not sure about what the date is for your school, again, let me know and I can look that up for you. Or most of them in Kentucky, I know. The big ones that are coming up this semester would be, Georgetown, Transy, Berea, UK, U of L, WKU. And you're going to be fairly safe to apply by Thanksgiving break for most of these schools. So that's kind of like Mulkey's rule of thumb. Have all of your application materials turned in by Thanksgiving break. And then, with the exception of like Transy and Berea that are October 31st. Then you're going to have state aid. That is given to you. That is through like the FAFSA. We're talking about, CAP grants. The Commonwealth Access Program grant is about $2,900. The Kentucky tuition grant is a little over that. I think it's closer to $3,000. This is state aid. It's like grants from the state to help you cover the cost, tuition, room and board, and things like that. So that is another reason why you want to do FAFSA, because that's how you get that money. Colleges are going to offer you need-based scholarships too, depending on your situation, your circumstances, but that's going to be contingent upon what college you look at. And then there are going to be other college-based scholarships that you can look at that are going to be like, I'm trying to think of an example, like departmental scholarships. Like if you're an engineering student, there might be scholarships specific for engineering. And then you have this outer circle here of like federal-based money. So you have federal loans, the subsidized and unsubsidized that we mentioned. National scholarships, here's some of the ones that we talked about, the College Board and the FAFSA. There are two more that you can check out. Work study, which is where you have a job on campus, and they give you a tuition break because you are working on campus. Again, you have to have FAFSA done to do that. Federal grants, Pell Grant and the SEOG grant, that's huge money. I believe for your all's graduating class, that might be close to $6,000. For federal Pell Grants that you can put towards education. And grant money is free money. So if you have almost $6,000 in, Pell Grants, sometimes that SEOG is anywhere from $800 to $1,000. And then you have the CAP grants. You're looking at close to $10,000 of grant money that you could potentially be eligible for just by doing your FAFSA. Now, is everybody going to qualify for that? Probably not. But you never know until you do the FAFSA. So you're going to do that FAFSA as soon as possible. My goal is to have everybody complete the FAFSA by October 31st. However, it opens October 1st, and you can do it any time in between there, of course. October 20th, we'll have Kia come to our school. They're bringing a bus that we can do our FAFSAs on. I'll have time slots for you to schedule an appointment to complete your FAFSA. So you'll just go out there, take all of your materials, and get that FAFSA done. The last step when you're looking at your college applications, you just want to kind of check and double check and make sure everything looks right. So remember, you can save your application because you create an account that you can go back and check things. So you're looking for spelling and grammar errors. Be sure your name is spelled correctly. Be sure that you have the correct birthday, the correct social, because if you have incomplete or inaccurate information, that's going to cause some problems, especially when it comes to financial aid, because the information is not going to match. So be mindful of that. And then you also want to make sure that you're putting forth, the best presentation of yourself to this college. You don't want to have, lowercase letters when you're typing in your name and things like that. I know we have a tendency to do that, but be aware that you want to make everything look as professional as possible. This recommends printing your application before submitting online in case it doesn't go through. That is something that you can do, but as long as you're saving your application along the way and you've created that account, you should be okay. If you have questions or if you're having issues, you can always call their college admissions office. They have many people there who want to help you, who want to make sure you get your application in and get your application in on time. There are some resources that you can pursue to help you with this process. So one, you can come to, honestly, anybody in this building is going to support you and help you with your questions. I'm the college and career counselor, so I do a lot of this stuff daily when I work with students. However, you can always ask Miss Rocco, you can always ask Miss Puckett or Miss Bilka. I mean, even Mr. Hobbolt knows a lot of this information, so you can ask anybody in this building, and we will help you and support you and find the answers to your questions. There is the second option, consider a meeting with admissions officers. So we have admission counselors coming fairly often now, so check Google Classroom or mine, social media, because you want to meet with these officers or counselors when they come in because they have a ton of information for you. All of that you have to register for in advance. And again, I send that all on Google Classroom and Remind, just so you can have access to talking with those counselors before maybe visiting a school. If you're wanting more information about this process too, College Board has a lot of resources you can utilize. Talking with older students or older siblings who have gone through the process is another resource. There are some books. This is a book that's recommended by the program that we are using, the College Admission from Application to Acceptance, Step by Step. A lot of the materials that we talked about today come from this guide, and we also may have some books in the Media Center, so maybe you want to check with Ms. Cooper about the different resources we have in there. And then right now you are going to have an activity, but before I release you for that activity, I want to mention just a few more things, and then I'll let you go. One is when you are applying to college, if you are on free or reduced lunch, after you apply to a college, you don't have to pay to apply to that college, but if you are on free or reduced lunch, do your application, submit it, and then email me and tell me so I can email the admissions counselor for that school to make sure they waive your application fee. If you don't do that, they will not process your application, and we want to make sure that gets processed as soon as possible. Also, just a quick reminder about those deadlines. Make sure you know the deadlines of the schools that you're looking at, because there may be ones that are fast approaching or quickly approaching, and you want to make sure you get your applications done in time. So now I will release you to your advisory teachers to take care of this activity. Again, if you will have questions, please reach out to me. We are here to support you and help you with whatever your post-secondary goals are, whether that's college applications, whether that's trade and technical schools, whether that's finding a job or career in the workforce, or if you're wanting to enlist in one of the military branches. All right. Thanks, everybody.